Alright, so I'm trying to think of a name for what we're doing next. A very generic or broad name to describe the overall task that we're doing. And I'm going to break that down into subtasks for each function. I call them a function, but it's really just a group of code inside an if statement within my overall while loop. All my code is in a huge while loop. That's how I do it. And then I just do if statements. These are like functions. But they're like built-in functions. They're not on the back of your code or on the very bottom. They're in line with all of your code, so they can interact with one another within your while loop. I sometimes use actual functions, but very rarely. Only if it's something I'm going to use over and over and over, like inside of these types of groupings. I need to call something. Alright, so pull earnings figures line by line from earnings file. Is this project going to be one file? Yes. All of my projects are always one file. Unless if there can be separate executables called by my executable in rare instances, very rarely, but I generally just put, I create like 100,000 lines of code file. Like, that's how I usually do it. Everything's one file. And it's all one big while loop. Sometimes I use functions, but very, very rarely. Yeah, everything's always one file. There's one executable, and that's it. It's very easy to work with that way. You don't have to search through files. I don't even use this thing, where you like find. I don't use classes. I don't use projects. I don't use anything. I have one CPP file and one exe file. Very simple. But then I can have like files where I store like txt, like data, like txts of data. Like defining objects and for like the computer vision and stuff like that. And like data, statistical data and stuff, it can output txts. But as far as like the brains, there's just the one exe. I do know object-oriented programming, and it's crap. You don't need it. I do use functions, but very rarely. these are kind of like functions, but they're inline. You can organize them in a better way than putting everything on the bottom of your code down here. Alright, so now the reason you don't use characters, instead you convert to strings, so you can write out numbers and different actual things as strings instead of memorizing the ASCII character. Otherwise, if you're working with characters, it would be like, this would be like 41 or whatever. It'd be weird. I prefer to work with actual strings. Alright, let me proofread this. Alright, if it equals a number, then wait, if we hit a period though, wait a minute, there might be an easier way. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Keep going backwards till you hit a space. That's what I want. Until you hit a space. Alright, 15 minus... Oh! Oh, minus 0 is fine. Okay, minus 0. Is that a space? No. Is this a space? This a space? Yes. Wait a minute. Oh, that's fine. Alright, alright, we hit a space. Now, let's say that was minus 5. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3. 15 minus 3 was a space. Minus 2. Subtract 1 from count num. Minus 3 minus... Okay, so like 5 minus 3 is 2. We want minus 2. 5 minus 3 equals 2. 5 minus 2 equals 3. Plus 1. Minus 3 plus 1. Plus... Ugh, no. Okay. Or what? I think I'm doing this wrong. Oh gosh. Wait, these? No. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna pull this information and be happy with that. Because I don't like nesting too deep. That's when it gets confusing. I don't nest deep. Okay, so once we find the space line, we're just going to add 1 and record it. Minus count num. Alright, so let's say this was 15 minus 1, 2, 3. Okay, plus 1. Plus 1 equals... start of earnings number. There, so we don't get too confused. I don't like it getting confusing. And then we'll do we'll break this loop and then we might nest it. We might actually nest it. I don't like to do nest this deep, but it seems like we're stuck now. I don't know how to pull out. Second. Alright. So now we do wait. Here. Boom. There. Yeah, I'm rusty. I haven't programmed for so long. I'm going slower than I normally would. Okay, we don't need this anymore. Or do we? Oh, we do. Oh! So we pulled the earning from the line. Well, it does not equal bar. Okay. Wait, we don't have to do that here. We pulled it. Alright, let's see how we break out of this. Well, it does not equal bar. Okay. If equals period. If it didn't equal period, it will just... If it didn't equal period, we'll keep going till it hits a bar. Keep going till you hit a period eventually. Or a bar. If you hit a period. Back up till you hit a space. Add 1. Read it into a loop till you hit a bar. Feed it. Break this loop till you hit a space loop is irrelevant now. So you break that loop with the count num equals 9, and then you're also going to want to break the outer loop. Well, do we use arraynum anywhere else? No. Oh, mention earnings. No. Sum string equals earnings figure was pulled. Okay. And arraynum equals 20 will break this outer loop. Okay. So we broke out of both loops, this one and this one. And I like to record where we left off. Where we left off, column parsing, or equals unit of line num, and then okay, we break out of here. And now, oh, and we have to set this to not pulled. Not pulled. Okay, so we break both of these, and we're here. If does not equals is pulled. If it was pulled, this equals this, and the heck? It's completed equals true. Okay. And yeah, I guess that's it. Now, if it was not pulled, what would have happened? This was not pulled. As we're going through looking for a bar, we're looking for a space, or I mean a period. If the period was never found, it would just keep progressing until it either random hit 20 or we hit a bar. Okay, if it hit 20 but no bar was hit, and we've hit the end of our entire row. Okay, so if random equals 20, earnings figure was not pulled, then we know end of row detected equals true. Okay. If earnings figure was not pulled, but it's less than 20, that means we did hit a bar, and it was a legitimate column. Then we need to feed our array, letting it know it was a 0.00. Okay. And we need to, in either case, notify everyone that we're done. Wait, what? Why would it say that? Oh. Oh, what? No, that's not what we want. Pull earnings figure. There. Earnings figure pulling completed. Okay. Alright, that's what I was supposed to be putting in. Now, normally, well, we can add to the column count regardless each time we fill. That's fine. And then again here. End of row detected would set the column back to 0. And it would set the row to row plus 1. Oops, row equals row plus 1. And then progress count would be fine if we were ending with a bar. We don't need to mess with that here. Does not equals earning figure was pulled. Yeah, we just ended with a bar. So we don't need to mess with progress count unless if we were messing with the progress bar. And then here, the figure was pulled. It could be the end of... No, it wouldn't be the end of the row. No, it would not. Okay. Another way to know it's the end of the row would be what? What if it was... Oh, if we hit an end line character as well. That could be what we pull. Then we would do... Well, we'd break our array, which would be like that, and we would earnings figure was not pulled. We're not going to mess with the column count here because it would be like that. Yeah, that's all good. Just equals 20. That's fine. Oops, random equals 20. That will just break it. As if it were an empty line, except... Yeah, it'd be 20, and it's also not a bar. Normally it breaks on a bar sub 20, and it just column count plus 1. But if it breaks on a non-bar at 20, be row count plus 1, column count equals 0. A reset. Okay, so that's good. That handles that. Okay, so we're ready to call this then. Unless if we hit the end of a row. In which case... we handle it differently. Okay, end of row detected. Then we do this. And then he Yeah. Just because we're on an earnings figure row doesn't mean we'll get an earnings every time, so we'd treat that separately than this row count. This is the count for the array that contains the figures, so we got to keep them separate. Okay. Eventually, we will get to final something something recorded, at which point we would do this. Okay. And then so once we get to here, we have pulled all the earnings, and it's sorted by column and row. I kind of want to like test the code at that point before we jump to the next thing, although I can just write what that will be. So wait a minute. Columns. Wait, a row gets added to each time. Column gets added to each time. Row gets added to each time. No, it doesn't. What if it's... Yeah, it would... No, that's fine. If they're all zeros in a row... That won't hurt anything. I fill it out with zeros, that's fine. Okay, so total earnings columns equals earnings column count. Total earnings rows equals earnings row count. Okay, and then we do add up earnings for each column equals true. Processing earnings, tallying, log, waiting for adding up earnings for each column equals true. Okay. So